let's start our this course on Newton's second law and its application for undergraduate students. So first of all, I'll start with some prerequisites which is necessary before you go into this particular topic. Okay, so let's understand our Newton's second law in Cartesian form. So we know that Newton's second law is defined as the force acting on any object is directly proportional to the rate of change of linear momentum. So F can be defined as F equals to ma. From that, the outcome is F equals to ma from rate of change of linear momentum. We know that F equal to dp by dt, and that eventually come up to F equals to ma. But if the force is not only along one particular direction, one particular specific direction, if it is in all the three dimensions, okay, so the effect will be seen in all the three dimensions. So we can generalize this as F equals to m into a along acceleration along ax I cap plus ay j cap plus az k cap. Let's talk little about this ax I cap, ay j cap and az k cap. So for that, to understand this basic part, let me define a vector. In a given three-dimensional coordinate system, a vector r is defined as ai plus bj plus ck, where a, b, c are simply the coordinates in three dimensions. So if I differentiate this vector, then we will find dr by dt, where dr by dt is rate of change of this position of the particle with respect to time, and that will be given as dA by dt I cap plus dB by dt j cap plus dC by dt k cap. So how our r is changing with respect to time? That simply depends on how your x coordinate is changing, y coordinate is changing, and z coordinate is changing with respect to time. So that's your dr by dt, and this is also written as velocity v. So velocity is simply dr by dt, and another way of writing the same thing is r dot. So we are just simply reducing our notation. We are just simply writing our velocity v as r dot. R dot is rate of change of position with respect to time. Similarly, we can also change the rate of change of velocity, and that rate of change of velocity in three dimensions can be written as r double dot, this r double dot, and that will be simply the acceleration of the particle, that is equals to simply d square r by dt square, or which also we call it as dv by dt. These are just simply the notation. It's the same thing. We are writing in different notation, and that is equals to the double derivative d square a by dt square I cap plus d square b by dt square j, and plus d square c by dt square k cap. Again, I am repeating, these a, b, c are just the coordinates of a given position vector, and if I write in a proper format dA by dt, a is simply the x coordinate. So if dx by dt, that is the rate of change of x coordinate with respect to time, that's nothing but the velocity along x axis, so vx I cap, plus dB by dt, that's velocity along y axis, so vy j cap, and finally vz k cap. So vx is our rate of change of velocity of the particle along x axis, vy is rate of change of velocity along y axis, and vz is the velocity along z axis. Similarly, I can simply write the double derivative of position along x axis is our acceleration, so it is ax I cap, so acceleration along x axis, plus ay j cap plus az k cap, and we can simply write our Newton's second law, the coordinates F equals to m into these three, ax I cap plus ay j cap plus az k cap. We can understand here that if the force is not acting in three dimensions, which means if you are applying a force in a specific unique direction, like for example only x axis, then the effect will be seen only along x axis. Okay, so you can rewrite this expression like if you want to find the force along x axis, the x component of the force will be mass times acceleration along x axis, the y component along, okay, so that will be may, and similarly the z component will be represented as maz. Clear? Now these are the basic prerequisites you need to know before we go into the application part. Okay. Along with that, you also should know the resolution of a given vector. So let me define a vector in 2 dimensions, because we are not going into 3 dimensions. We are simply taking a vector in 2 dimensions in a plane. I hope all of you are familiar with plane. What is a plane? So let's say this is an xy plane or xy coordinate system. Okay, a simplest coordinate system xy. Okay, and you are making a vector here. Let's say this is a vector. So this is our vector r, any vector r. This vector r has a magnitude. Okay, let's call it as r only. Magnitude is r, and let's say this vector is denoting a point here. The tail of this vector is at the origin. So this coordinate is simply 0, 0. We know that, right? And this point is a comma b, correct? Okay, so a comma b, a is the x coordinate and b is the y coordinate. Okay, so for those who have not understood this part, let me simply recall 10th standard and say that if I make a perpendicular from here on x-axis, then this is a. Okay, usually teachers, they take it as x and y, but that confuses most of the students. To avoid that confusion, I have taken it as a and b. So if I make a perpendicular from here as well along on the y-axis, it will be b, correct? So this is a and b. Now we can represent this r in terms of a and b. But before going into that, let me say that this is angle theta, the projection of this given vector r on x-axis. Okay, so if angle theta is the projection of this vector r, we can represent this a and b in terms of r and theta. Okay, all of you must be familiar with that polar coordinate thing. So I'm not going into that thing. I'm just explaining the resolution, how we can resolve this vector along our x-axis and y-axis. Okay, because that will be required for your applications. So if r is a vector, and let me call it as a, b and c. This is a triangle. For triangle ABC, okay, for triangle ABC, we know that sine theta is perpendicular upon hypotenuse from 10th standard. I hope all of you know. So what's your perpendicular here? Perpendicular here is AC upon hypotenuse. What's your hypotenuse? AB, right? So if I write their values, sine theta, AC is nothing but our coordinate B, right? Coordinate B, and AB is nothing but our vector r, right? So B is equals to r sine theta. So if you are familiar with r and theta, you can represent your y coordinate. That's your B equal to r sine theta. That's your equation 1. I am writing here r sine theta, right? And next is cos theta. For cos theta, it is base upon hypotenuse. Cos theta is base upon hypotenuse. So base upon hypotenuse, base is how much? BC upon hypotenuse is again AB. So if I substitute these values again in this cos theta, it will be A upon R, right? And A will be equals to R cos theta. Once again, I am repeating that this R is the magnitude, okay, not the vector itself, right? Okay, clear it is? Okay. So if I want to calculate the distance, okay, between AB, how do we find the distance from 10th standard? We find our distance AB as using distance formula, which is root under A minus 0 whole square, right, plus B minus 0 whole square, correct? Okay, so that will be nothing but root under A square plus B square. And if we substitute here A as r cos theta and r sin theta, we will find that this AB is nothing but vector r, not vector, magnitude of r basically. Okay, so that will be root under A square. A what we found from equation number 2. So equation number 2, we found it as r cos theta. So let me substitute here r cos theta whole square, and B is what? R sin theta. So let me put here r sin theta and whole square. So that will simply give me root under r square cos square theta plus r square sin square theta. So if I take r square common, it will be cos square theta plus sin square theta, and that's nothing but 1 from 10th standard. We know from basic trigonometry that cos square theta plus sin square theta is 1. So simply this will give us AB is equals to root under r square, and that's nothing but r. So that's satisfied. Okay, so our components, okay, we can find that if you are given with a vector, okay, r, you can split it into 2 components along x-axis and y-axis. Okay, it's very important and crucial in case if the given vector is not given in the same first quadrant. If it is given in second one, okay, and third one or fourth one, okay, then you have to be little careful about this. Okay, so like if the vector is given somewhere here, let's say, okay, for example, this is our vector, and if it is given like this, okay, just one second, let me just Okay, this is our vector, any vector. Okay, let me call it as vector p, and let's say this is the projection here. Now the shortcut way, always remember that the projection with the axis will be always cos theta. So it will be p cos theta, and that will be p sin theta. So you should be clear with this projection and resolution of vector before we go into the basic of applications of Newton's second law.